Jnanachamanasya Kananjana Shalakaya
I was born in the darkest ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance unto him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Joy. So we're continuing our reading of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, entitled Attaining the Supreme.
Yes.
Text number 20.
20.
Text number 20. So we've been hearing about the nature of the material world, that it's created and annihilated again and again. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. Created, then destroyed, then created, destroyed, created. So it's again the cycle of creation and destruction. It's happening from the universal scale. The whole universe is going through that, and our bodies are going through that too. You know, they're born, they grow old, they get sick, they die. So that's going on right through the universe, right up to the whole universe. And when Lord Brahma is born, that's the beginning of the universe. And when Lord Brahma dies, that's the end of the universe. So his life is the span of the universe. In Earth years, it's about 311 trillion Earth years. The length of the universe, which is his life. His 100 years, Brahma's 100 years is our 311 trillion and 40 billion or something. Earth years. So so this cycle of taking birth or creation and then destroying or death is going on again and again. But now we're going to hear about there's another world, a spiritual world, where there's no creation and destruction.
No birth and death.
No birth and death. That's where we want to go.
Everybody.
I don't know about you.
Oh, everyone, it's just this is Dukhala.
Yeah.
It's like this is the place of misery.
Yeah.
Who wants to be,
Yeah.
Sometimes when I look at my mom, she's 88, just limping the last leg. But couldn't go. It's been like years and years we're waiting. The doctor diagnosed that the cancer in 2018. He said, well, maybe a year max. Now it's like a 2024. She's still kicking. Yeah.
Okay.
Because her cancer is as big as hamburger. Is the ovary and uterus become a joint.
Okay.
So doctor says don't touch it, because if we do operation chemo, she'll die. In that age, it's okay, let it go like that. But she was just, in the pain and all that, but can't go. It just, I don't know. And then as far as I remember, and mom tells me, she was like Krishna devotee when she was teenager. And she was telling her parents, I'm already married with Krishna. I don't want to get married. And then she doesn't want to get married. But society, we're talking about 70 years ago, who listened to her? Since that, she was a devotee of Krishna. And then she's got a dementia. She can't remember. If I tell something and in the evening I say, I told you that. When? You didn't tell me anything. And she forget. But she doesn't forget Bhagavatam. She was telling all the verses and everything in a bridge language. She reads that from the bridge language, and he's telling she doesn't forget that. I don't know how. And if we tell something and she forget by the evening, but that thing, she doesn't forget. And every time we go, she was telling that, the verses, the Krishna this. Oh my God, Leela for that. And then, but she's aged like that, wants to go but can't go.
Yeah. And Krishna has a plan for her and as well as everyone.
Definitely.
Something when's the right time, you'll go.
Yes.
Okay, let's read the Sanskrit.
Yeah.
Parastasmatu bhavonyo.
Parastatmatsu bhavonyo.
Vyakto vyaktat sanatana.
Vyakto vyaktas natanan.
Yasa sarveshu bhuteshu.
Yasa sarveshu bhuteshu
nasyatsu na vinashyati.
nastyatsu na vinashati. Yet there is another unmanifested nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated.
Annihilated
When
means destroyed.
annihilated, yeah, when all in the world is annihilated, that part remains as it is.
As it is. Yeah, so yet there is another unmanifest nature. So unmanifest is indicating that you can't see it. You know, materialistic people, they always want to see everything. If I can see God, I'll believe in God. I don't believe in God because I can't see him. You know, so some things we can see with these eyes and some things we can't see. So the spiritual world, you're not going to see that with these eyes. It's not manifest. And but although you can't see it, so here the Vedas is saying, Krishna is saying that nature which you can't see is eternal. And transcendental means beyond the material world. Transcendental means it's above the material world. So it's a nature that is where everyone lives eternally, and it's beyond or above the material world. Oh, Deepa's joining us. Welcome, Deepa. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. How are you, Deepa? Good.
I'm well. I am well. Actually, I was gonna hang on after the class and talk with you, Abhi Prabhu, because I just want to ask you to pray for some prayers for Ben for his wellness. He's just going through a bit of a hard time at the moment.
Oh, that's no good. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's finish a bit early because I have to go at 6:30 here. But yeah, let's finish a bit early and then we can talk with Deepa.
This was a small verse.
Yeah. Where are we at?
So we're 8th chapter.
Yep.
8th chapter, text 20.
Okay.
So we just read the translation and just started talking about that. So yeah. So Krishna's saying here, after talking about the material world, my phone is making noise.
He's joining the class.
Let me turn this thing off. It just starts up talking.
It's really a smartphone.
It's a stupid phone because I don't want it to talk. Can you get that to turn off? Or take it to turn the volume down? That's too smart. We call that over intelligent. This technology is becoming over intelligent. Yeah. Yeah. So Krishna's saying here that that there's beyond this material world, which is going through cycles of creation and destruction. There's another world which we can't see. So it said unmanifest nature. You can't see it with these eyes, but it's there, but you can't see it. And there's so many things that are there and you can't see. What are some things you can think of that you know are there, but you can't see them?
Air.
The wind.
Correct. Yeah. The air, the wind, like that. The soul.
Krishna.
Oh, yeah.
Krishna is there. You can't see it.
Yeah,
It's there.
Even ourself, we can't even see ourself, the soul. And Krishna, of course, next to us, the super soul. But even things like your heart, you can't see that. Or, in the atom, we know there's atoms, but has anyone seen an atom? You can't see an atom. So we believe in atoms and electrons and protons and neutrons, but you can't see any of those things. Has anyone seen COVID? But we believe in it, right? Or some people do, you know, believe in a virus, but you can't even see the virus, you know, like that. So there's so many things you can't see, but we believe in them, right? So there's a world beyond this material world, transcendental, and where everyone lives eternally. You know, so that's another nature, a superior nature, spiritual nature. And so it says it's transcendental to this manifest and unmanifest matter. So matter, this spiritual world is unmanifest. We can't see it with these eyes. But even this material world, sometimes it's unmanifest. Now it's manifest. Now the creation is going on, and we can look out and see a little part of it. We can't see it all, but we see a little part of it. At night we can see some stars if it's a clear sky. But when is this material world unmanifest? At which point is this, would you say the material world is unmanifest? Means you can't see it anymore. Is there a time when you can't see the material world?
Died.
Yeah, I mean, when this body dies, you're not going to see anything when you're dead. But then you're going to take birth again, and you're going to see it again, because you're going to go straight into another body, and then you're going to see it again. But when is there that nobody can see the material world?
Yeah, that's after the Brahma's 100 years. You know how many trillion years after that? You can't see after that.
That's right, yeah. So when Lord Brahma dies, the whole universe is destroyed. Lord Shiva does a big dance. He does a big dance and he destroys it. And then fire comes out of the Sesha Nag, the Ananta Sesha, the big serpent bed of Vishnu that's sitting on the Garbha ocean in the middle of this universe. There's an ocean with gigantic Vishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu lying there, and he lies on a serpent bed, Ananta Sesha. So there'll be fire coming out of Sesha's mouth, and also Shiva will be dancing, and it'll all be destroyed at that time when Brahma dies. At that point, it's unmanifest. Then all that material energy will be withdrawn into the body of Mahavishnu, Karanadakashaya Vishnu, Mahavishnu, that gigantic Vishnu that lies on the Karana ocean, the causal ocean. So it'll all be withdrawn into him. And the souls too. Whatever souls haven't got liberated by that time the universe ends, they all go back into the body of Mahavishnu too, along with the material energy. And they're in like a sleeping state until when he breathes out again. Until when Mahavishnu breathes out again, then it will all become manifest again. So it's going through these stages of sometime being manifest, like during Lord Brahma's life, and then unmanifest. Yeah. But from our point of view here in the material world, the spiritual world is always unmanifest. And if we become qualified to go back to the spiritual world due to practicing bhakti yoga, then when the soul's transferred to the spiritual world, then it will be manifest to you. Then it will be manifest. So from now, as a conditioned soul in the material world, the spiritual world is not manifest. But when we get liberated, go back to Godhead, then you'll see it always, and then it'll never become unmanifest again. Now it's unmanifest, but when you go there, then you'll always be able to see it like that. And then finally, Krishna says, when all this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. So yeah, when the universe is destroyed at the end of Lord Brahma's life, the spiritual world stays the same. So the spiritual world's not affected, not affected by what's going on here. Whether this world is created or halfway through or it's at the end, it's destroyed, whatever, that's not changing anything in the spiritual world. It remains as it is. So it's not affected by the changes of this material world, the spiritual world. Okay. Deepa, would you like to read the purport, short purport?
Krishna's superior spiritual energy, transcendental and eternal, it is beyond all the changes of material nature, which is manifest and annihilated during the days and nights of Brahma. Krishna's superior energy is completely opposite in quality to material nature. Superior and inferior nature are explained in the 7th chapter.
Yeah. So Prabhupada's mentioning another kind of annihilation. So we mentioned about when Brahma dies, the universe is completely destroyed. And I've mentioned it before, but Prabhupada's mentioning it here, that at the end of Lord Brahma's day, 12-hour day, at the end of the day, then there's a partial annihilation. And he has, his night is 12 hours. So for that 12-hour night, then there's not much happening in the material world when Lord Brahma goes to sleep every night. Just like we go to sleep every night, Lord Brahma also goes to sleep every night. And when he goes to sleep, the whole world is like shut down. And actually there's a partial annihilation which goes up to even beyond the heavenly planets. So from where the water level, where it normally is halfway up the universe, there's rain for 100 years, gigantic downpour. It's said that the clouds, special clouds called Samvartaka clouds, those are the same clouds that Indra called in to Govardhan to drown the Brajbasis during the Govardhan, after the Govardhan puja. Indra was really peeved off that his puja was stopped. So he called those Samvartaka clouds the same clouds that are called during the annihilations. And each raindrop, do you know how long the raindrops are? An individual, just one raindrop. It's as long as the trunk of an elephant. One raindrop. So even if you got hit on the head by a raindrop, you'd be out. That's
one drop will be gone for you. Yeah.
You have a shower, that's it.
Yeah. So when Indra called those clouds, the whole land of Vrindavan filled up in one day. The whole, it just became underwater in one day. And the only dry spot was underneath Govardhan, was underneath Giriraj, and Krishna lifted it up like that. But then for 100 years, at the end of Lord Brahma's day, when his night starts, there's this constant rain, and the whole universe fills up till the planets where the sages live. The only ones that are not underwater at that time is the top one, Brahmaloka, and then I think there's about 3 underneath it that don't go underwater, which is like, one of them is like called Tapaloka, and the other one is another one called Tapaloka, and I can't remember the names right now. But all the great sages live there. It's even above the Swargaloka. Swargaloka even goes underwater. Oh yeah, one of them's Janaloka. Jayanti reminded me. Yeah, there's Janaloka, Tapaloka, and there's one other one that don't go underwater. Oh, Maha. Yeah, Mahaloka. Maha, yeah. Oh, Jayanti's a real pundit today. Real scholar. So those 3 don't go under. But all the other ones go underwater, including the one we're on. Our planetary system is called Bhuloka. We're in the middle. We're in the middle of the universe. There's 6 planetary systems below us and 7 above us. The top one is Brahmaloka. So only the top 4 stay out of the water at the Lord Brahma's night. everyone else is drowned and then burnt as well. If you didn't die by drowning, then you'll get burnt. There's no escape. So yeah, it's all wound up, and then it all kicks off again when Brahma wakes up the next day. So these are called partial annihilations. So every one of us, so 365 times a year, there's a partial annihilation of his years. That's a lot of destructions every year. You know, he's got 100 years like that. So, oh, that's, you know, that's, yeah, 365 days, yeah, a year, yeah. 365 times by 100. 365 times by 100. That's how many partial annihilations there are. And then there's one complete one. And the complete one, the water goes right to the very top, and then the burning goes everywhere as well. So everyone's completely wiped out at that point. And like I said, if you're not liberated by that point, then you go within the body of Mahavishnu. So Prabhupada's reminding us of that. So yeah, if that doesn't make you fed up of the material world, I don't know what will.
What else?
It's like, you know, you get into a house and you get kicked out, and you get into a house and you get kicked out, and you get into a house and get kicked out. I mean, God, are you going to get sick of it? And it's crazy.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada's mentioning here, superior and inferior nature is explained in the 7th chapter. So let's have a look at that. So he's referring to, Krishna talks about his material and spiritual energies in the 7th chapter. Text number 4 and 5, I think. 7th chapter 4 and 5.
Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, all together is the 8 constitute my separated material energy.
Yeah, so this is the material world is made up of these things. There's nothing else except for these things in terms of matter. And then the next verse, the spiritual energy.
Beside this, Almighty Arjuna, this is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entity who are exploiting the resources of material inferior nature.
So this is pretty much telling us what's going on in the material world. There's 2 energies, inferior, superior. So, and the superior energy asks the soul, what are we doing here? We're trying to exploit the material energy. And that's all that's going on, really. I mean, look out the window in Newcastle or wherever we are. You're going to see people exploiting the material energy, isn't it? We even like in Australia, right? There's so much mining going on, right? All the mining and digging up the earth. So, you know, they're taking that, you know, that we read about the inferior energy, earth, water. So we take the earth and the water and the fire and everything like that, and we manufacture so many things for our sense gratification. And then we'll make phones out of that earth. We'll make cars out of the earth and so many things. One time Prabhupada was talking with an Indian man who owned a glass manufacturing factory, and Prabhupada asked him, where does glass come from? And the man said sand. And then, so that's pretty easy. The next one is a bit difficult. He said, Prabhupada said, where does sand come from? Most people wouldn't know what to say about that. But then he was a pious Indian man, so he said, Bhagavad. God, because it's God's energy, right? Earth. And then Prabhupada said, oh, you are stealing Bhagavan's sand and selling it for profit. And then he pointed at him and said, you are a thief. And the man said, no, Swamiji, I'm giving some donation to the temple. And then Prabhupada said, oh, you're a small thief.
Small thief.
You know, because, you know, you give, you know, 5 rupees to Krishna and keep 95 in your pocket, you know. So he gets, if he's lucky, 5% or something. But it's all his, actually. It's 100% his. But, you know, so that's what's happening in the material world. We're exploiting, utilizing these resources of the material world for our enjoyment, our sense gratification. Yep.
Oh, sorry. No, it's interesting that Krishna says there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities. I mean, that he refers to us, the living entities, as superior, his superior energy. That's interesting for me. I mean,
okay, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we are superior to matter because we, as a soul, can control matter to some degree. We can utilize the matter. So in that sense, we're superior, that we can manipulate the matter, control the matter, exploit the matter. So we're superior to matter, but we're not superior to Krishna. We're inferior to Krishna, but superior to matter. Matter can't, you know, and matter can't stop us from taking it, isn't it? You know, the earth is not going to stop us from mining, you know, like that, or the sand isn't going to stop us from, you know, so we're taking the material energy and we use it as we'd like. So in that sense, we're superior to it. We have the intelligence to be able to, you know, control the material energy to some degree. I mean, in one sense, also you could say human beings are superior to animals. Same point, that we utilize the animals for our purposes. You know, we can, even like it said, the lion is the king of the jungle, right? But we can catch a lion. We have a brain, that weak human being, that can catch the powerful lion. He's the king of the jungle, and then we can put him in a circus or do whatever we want with him, like that. So in the one sense, we're superior to the animals also as a human being. So because we have a more highly developed consciousness, but we're using that highly developed consciousness to exploit the matter, or to exploit the plants or the animals or the fish or whatever like that. We're exploiting these things for our own enjoyment. Actually, as part and parcel of God, as a child of God, and God is the Father, so the Father's responsibility is to maintain all of his children. So in one sense, we do have a right to utilize some of God's property, in the same way that the children have a right to use, you know, some of the property of the Father, of course, under his permission. You know, so the Father gives a quota. The Father gives a set quota to each of his children for their maintenance, right? But however, the way it works is you have a right to your quota, what God has set aside for you for your maintenance, but you don't have a right to take another of the children's quota. And that's where we go wrong in modern society many times. We get greedy and we want more than what we need. And we take what we need, plus we take what other people need. You know, and that's what we call sinful. So that's called sinful, when we take other living entities' properties. And Prabhupada even mentions that, like, the quota of food for a human being is vegetarian food. That's the quota. It's not our quota to eat meat. That's another species quota. You know, the dogs and the, you know, tigers and everything, that's their quota. The cats and stuff. But our quota as a human being is to eat fruits and vegetables and grains and nuts and dairy products. That's our quota. And then you can prove that in terms of, you know, our hands are designed to pick fruits and grains and stuff, and our teeth are flat ones. They're designed to chew grains and nuts and stuff.
The monkey or orangutan, they got everything what we got. The only thing is they cannot write. We can write. You know why is that? Because they are like that, and they cannot put a thumb and these things together.
Okay.
Look at the monkey who does like that. He cannot do like that. So he can't hold the pen. Rest everything exactly. Monkeys has got a whole parliament. You see all monkeys and everything there. They come together. Who's sitting there? We're sitting there. Whole parliament. Yes.
Yeah.
And and then you are seeing not, even sitting arrangement, everything. Only thing is that they cannot read right.
Yeah. Well, I would say that's the second difference.
Yes.
The first difference is that they are not inquisitive about spiritual subjects.
They don't have the consciousness.
They don't have the higher consciousness for spiritual things. But materially, there is intelligence there, definitely.
Yeah.
That's been proven. I mean, a lot of species are better than us at material things. I'll give you some examples. I went to America. I saw this pelican, big bird with big wings, big beak, flying high in the sky. It was so high up, and then suddenly it went right angles, like it went immediately from horizontal to vertical, dive bomb in the water, and it must have seen with its powerful eyes a fish under the water from a couple hundred meters up in the air, and then it came out of the water with a fish. I couldn't believe it. So such good eyes, but what was the purpose of the eyes? To get breakfast. Not for spirit, not to see Krishna or anything like that. And
animals are better than us.
Yeah, they're all better than us. Like pigs.
Why? Because they're not greedy.
A mother pig can produce 12 children, every 6 months, whereas a human struggles to pump out one every couple of years. So they're all very more advanced materially. The only advantage we have was our brain, and with that brain, we're controlling them. We can control, we can even control the elephant. But in one sense, it's stronger than us physically, of course, but our brain makes up for that. But unfortunately, that good brain is being misused just to exploit the material world, because we could use that good brain to go to the transcendental world, the eternal world. And that's what, Krishna's encouraging us to stop exploiting the material world. Just take what we need. We have something we need, so take what you need, but don't take more than what you need. Don't become greedy and sinful.
Animals are not greedy.
No, that's right. They just take what they need.
That's right.
Yeah. But it's said, there's a saying, if some birds if there's a sack of rice on the ground, the birds will just take 1 grain of rice and fly away. But if a human being comes there, he'll look around, see if no one's there, then he'll take the whole bag and make a run for it like that. So, we think, I can sell this for profit. I can make some profit. But actually, the way it's meant to be is that we just live day to day and not worrying about the future. And we just depend on God, that God will provide for us. And Prabhupada, even in ISKCON, he wanted the temples to run that way. He said, whatever donations of Bhoga come today, you cook it all, offer it all, distribute it all, and leave nothing for the next day. Whatever Krishna gives today, you distribute that today in the form of prasada, and you depend on Krishna, that Krishna will send me tomorrow what we need. You don't keep anything for that. I mean, that's real surrendered. That's a lot of faith. That's a lot of faith, So that's a lot of faith. Yeah. I experienced that once. Actually, when they had the protests here in New Zealand in Wellington a few years ago, that we whatever people donated came in that day, we cooked it all and distributed it all to about 2,500 people. And then we didn't know what was coming tomorrow. And then Krishna arranged that again tomorrow it comes in. Then again it was amazing. It was really incredible. And it's really good for us to develop this faith in God. That's so important for a human being to have faith in God. It's even mentioned, even the way it works, that, you know, you have 4 occupations, right? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. And it's sort of said that, you know, that Brahmana is the most advanced, down to Sudra. But part of the reason why Brahmana is higher than the others is because you have to have more faith to operate as a Brahmana. Because a Brahmana doesn't have a paid job, right? He's just depending on that. I'm going to teach my students, and whatever they give to me, then that's how I'm going to live from that. So he's not even charging for giving knowledge. He's not charging. But out of gratitude for receiving some knowledge from the teacher, the students go out and beg some alms, you know, collect some alms of food and that, and they give that to the teacher, and the teacher lives from that. So he doesn't know, you know, what's going to come. He has to have faith like that. So that's the highest faith in the Brahmana. And then next down is the Kshatriya. But he also has to have faith that, you know, that I'm going to be able to protect the people, And when they're happy that I'm giving them protection and safety, security and that, then they're going to give me some taxes. They're going to give me some money in the form of taxes. So he's also has that faith in God, that God is going to maintain me. And then Vaishya's next down in faith. They also have to have faith. Like you would have known that with Gloria Jeans, right? You don't know how much profit you're going to get today. You could make loss, you could make profit. You know, you could have
even Bhakti Tree as well. Sometime I don't know how many. I was there last Saturday, just to eat. You could not believe that there was enough people to working. I went there to eat. I start working. Mahabhadra come in to eat. He start working, and a part of that, the old Brett was there, another girl there, and chef there, and then Elijah, and we just it's just smashed. And some Saturdays we just looking that. Keep looking the clock.
Yeah.
How these things happen, nobody knows.
I know. Yeah. So you can't plan. You don't know. So you just have to have faith. You have to have the Vaishya.
We say that customer and death can anytime. You cannot predict.
Yeah.
Customer and the death.
So the Vaishya has to have faith that Krishna will send a customer, isn't it? That Bhagavan will send a customer. So we're helpless, isn't it? We're so helpless. Yes. So, and then the Sudra, he has the least faith because he knows he's going to get that $1,000 at the end of the week. He's going to get, you know, paid automatically $1,000. So his faith is very less, and that's why he's a Sudra. But, you know, more faith is Vaishya, then more again is Kshatriya, more again is most is Brahmana.
And the Prabhupada said that in the Kali Yuga, we all Shudras.
Well, we're all born Sudras, but we shouldn't stay Sudras. we're all born Sudras. Yeah, we're born ignorant. Do you know why that is said, that we're all born Sudras in Kali Yuga?
Because we just born.
That's indicating that in previous ages, then people weren't all born Sudras. Some were, but some weren't. How is it possible that you could be born not a Sudra? That means not ignorant. But what's the difference? What was happening in the previous ages that caused them to be born on a higher level of consciousness?
because of their past life, and there must be some pious activities, and that's why they're born with some kind of knowledge.
Okay.
Because whatever you do now is gonna be, continue with the next life. So if you are quite pious in this life, and you listen to Bhagavatam and all that, next life you will born with something up there to forward move, like continue with that.
Okay. Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah. But what's going to attract that pious soul to come and take birth in your family?
If I'm a pious activity, I'm doing that, chances are, like, next life will be born in some devotee's family. Born with pious brain and things like, because you're doing this life, whole entire life, you especially 30 years, it definitely will. If you don't have a rebirth, if you do have a rebirth, you'll be definitely in the Brahmana family, 100%.
Okay. Yeah. So what it said is that in previous ages before Kali Yuga, people were doing the Dashavida Samskara. You heard of samskaras? It means purificatory ceremonies.
Yes.
The first, and there's 10 of them, Dasha. So there's the first one is called Garbhadan Samskara. And that's when the husband and wife want to conceive a child, they perform all kind of auspicious activities to try to attract a good soul to come to the womb. So one thing they do, they bring everyone in the village and they invite them to come and they feed them all prasad. So before you have a child, first of all, you get the blessings of everyone in the village. So you feed the brahmanas, you feed the women, the children, the old people, feed everyone. And then you tell everyone, my wife and I, we want to have a child. Please give us your blessings, like that. So you get the blessings of everyone, like that. And then, you do some tapasya, do some austerities, do some fasting, do some chanting, do some puja, worship the deity, everything like this. They do so many things. Give charity, give cows to brahmanas and so many things like that. And you read that in the Bhagavatam, right? These wealthy Vaishyas or Kshatriyas and like that, they would give cows in charity to brahmanas and everything like that. So these are all purifying us, and then only then they would have sex and having sex, not just for enjoyment, but their whole purpose of having sex was to attract a very good soul to come, like that. That's the very first one. And then there's so many like that. And there's a name giving ceremony. That's a samskara. When the child's born, then they're giving a name and they call the astrologer, and the astrologer will tell, this is the first letter of the name, like this, and this will be the qualities of the person, is like this and this and this. So, and then one of them, I think after 6 months or so, they do a hair cutting samskara, where they
1 year time,
and they give the grains. They give the first grains, and then cut the hair and all these rituals. And the last one is death. That's the last samskara. And then also they do wonderful things, put tulsi there on the dead body and Ganga Jal and deities mala and everything like that, and chant mantras and the family will distribute prasadam to the public and everything like that. Then they'll read Bhagavad Gita for so many days and like that. So all these rituals called samskaras, and it attracts very elevated souls to come. But in Kali Yuga, the idea is that all these samskaras are stopped. No one distributes prasad, no one chants, no one's worshipping the deities, no one's giving cows in charity, all these kind of things. No one's giving the first grains, cutting the hair, doing things for when someone dies and all that. So without all these samskaras, then all you get is like just the riff-raff, probably from the bottom of the universe. probably the scum scraped up from the bottom of the universe, rather than some elevated, yogis and coming like that. So interesting, huh?
Very. You know, the Jewish people, Israeli people, when the woman gets pregnant, they try to do mathematic equations to be solved. So the child will born with the brain with the mathematician.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's what they do that, because they do maximum puzzle solve and all pregnant ladies. Yeah. When the child will born that, and he come with like a genius name, but that'll be on the material level.
Yeah.
Not the spiritual.
Yeah. But it's still a good idea, that you can influence the child like that. We know, like in Vedic culture, right? Sometimes even the child is in the mum's tummy, and the mother is hearing, the Bhagavad Gita, the Krishna Gita, Ram Gita. This is very, very common. And hearing all the bhajans and kirtans and everything. We know that's how Prahlad became so advanced. He was in his mother's tummy, and the mother is a asura, a demon. But Narada Muni is preaching to his mother. But he could hear Narada Muni inside the tummy of his mother. And then when he popped out, he was already advanced. He was already a great soul. So how did he become a great soul? Because in the tummy of his mother, he heard a devotee speaking about Krishna's glories. So this is how we, attract, a very good soul like that, by doing all these very pure activities. Very pure activities. So that's where we're coming from, is that, the souls in the material world are trying to exploit this material world, the energy, the resources of this material world. But Krishna consciousness is changing that. What we're learning from the spiritual master is, instead of exploiting the material nature, we should engage it in Krishna's service. We should engage it in Krishna's service. So we can still use the material energy, but the difference is not for our enjoyment, but for Krishna's enjoyment. Like we take food, which is material energy, and instead of just gobbling it straight away, stuffing our mouth, we offer it to Krishna first. So we're using the material energy in Krishna's service, and that's spiritualizing the material energy. That's spiritualizing the material energy and making prasad. And, like soon Rath Yatra is coming in India. Rath Yatra is happening.
We got on the New Gokula on the 7th of July.
Yeah.
7th of July, yeah. Right.
So they cut down trees every year for that. They cut down big trees, special trees.
To make it
and they worship those trees. They do puja to the trees and like that, and they cut them by hand with an axe, not with a chainsaw. And they do all kind of special rituals and everything. And then they turn it into a beautiful rath for Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, like that. And then after that, the tree gets liberated. So instead of we using it for sense gratification, they use it in Krishna's service. So like that, a devotee uses everything in Krishna's service. And then after the Rath Yatra's happened, then they pull it apart and cut it up, and they use it to cook for the prasadam, to prepare all the bhoga. So those all that wood from the raths are used to cook for Jagannath prasadam. So it's completely used in Krishna's service. Not for our service, but for Krishna's service, like that. So that's a nice example, how we can turn material energy, turn it into spiritual energy. So that's the idea. You're actually converting, by the process of bhakti yoga, by doing everything with love for Krishna, you're converting material energy back into spiritual energy again. And it said, for example, that's why one reason why they don't burn the, you could say, dead body of the spiritual master, the guru, because his body is regarded as spiritual energy. So they keep in what's called a samadhi. You know, they bury the body and cover with salt, and they put the tomb or samadhi over the top, and people go there to worship the guru like that. And it said you can, you know, you pray to the guru and he'll hear your prayers and everything. He remains there. So the body of this, even the body of the devotee becomes spiritualized. And the examples given, if you put an iron rod in the fire and you keep it in the fire long enough, what happens to that iron rod? Is it still iron?
No, it's getting melted.
It becomes
Well,
like
it doesn't melt. It doesn't melt, but its qualities change.
it becomes like the fire.
It becomes like the fire because I can take it out of the fire and then I can burn something with it. Normally, you can't burn anything with an iron rod, but if you left it in the fire long enough and take it out, if you touch some paper with it or wood or whatever, it's going to catch on fire because it becomes like fire. So in the same way, by using matter in Krishna's service, it becomes spiritualized because Krishna is obviously spiritual. So you're connecting it with him. It becomes again spiritual. Yeah. And we know that with prasadam, it's like magic. It looks like ordinary food, but the taste of it has changed, isn't it? The taste, and that's why people keep coming back to the bhakti tree and so forth.
Yeah.
To the temples, because it's different.
Definitely.
It's different. Yeah. So I'll leave it at that. But would either of you want to say anything? Anything that comes to mind?
All good. No, all good. All right. I better go. That Deepa need to talk to you.
Oh, not yet.
Yep.
Okay. I better go.